You ready, Sylvia? Got a nice cat co-host today. She's 16 years old and the coolest cat I've ever been around, to be honest. Oh, yeah, sweetie. She might get my lap by the middle of this episode. That'll be cool. But let's get right into it. Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to Living for a Living, episode 90.
Living for a living, baby. How you doing?
The big 9-0. It's pretty crazy to think back on when I was at episode 5 or episode 6. And I think the first 12 episodes, 10 of them are guest episodes. I highly recommend going back and checking those out. I think I've obviously gotten way better at doing the solo ones, in my opinion. But those guest ones in the beginning are pretty raw, and they're all super interesting guests. So if, Henny, I know you tell me to put out a new episode every now and then. If you need something, go all the way back in the catalog. Let me know. And I got to start out by giving thanks to Paul. And I don't think I ever gave thanks to Bobby for a purchase on the store this week. Really appreciate you guys. And with that said, please go check out the website, www.livingforaliving.live. I got some new stuff coming. It's been fun doing the merchandise, clothes, brand kind of thing, because you get to be creative on one sense and create it. And then on the other sense, the business and the market doesn't lie. And so it's ironic, like my favorite thing that I've probably created is this hoodie, this logo, the Trippin' logo. And it's sold a hoodie, a couple crews, but I thought the t-shirts are going to sell so good with this one, and maybe they will. I just got to get them in the right eyes. Maybe a majority of you listening don't like LSD as much as I do. So maybe I'm pushing it to the wrong demographic. I got to find the right Instagram page that's trippy, psychedelic Instagram, psychedelic TikTok. But it's been cool because it's like, in a way, it's kind of like playing quarterback, because you got to scout the defense, you got to read the defense, and then be creative in the sense of how you're going to attack it. And I guess maybe in this way, the attacking could be more marketing. The creative process is scouting. But then at the end of the day, whether the pass is incomplete or complete, you can't argue. Whether you made the sale or you didn't make the sale, you can't fucking argue. So it's been this new thing that I've really been enjoying. And I had a spur of the moment, late night, 2 a.m. epiphany of, I got a good idea. And so in probably the next couple weeks, I've been saying this, the website will just get a little updated. The shop will get updated, kind of taking some things off that aren't selling, pushing some new things, got some tie-dye stuff coming. Hopefully that'll get the more hippie, trippy crowd. Also then going to come out with some beanies and maybe a couple other options for crews and sweatshirts since winter is approaching. So be on the lookout for that. I'd be curious to know what people like, what you don't like. Man, I guess not as I always say, but please call in with anything on your mind, whether you agree or disagree. I get some really cool messages just on Facebook or Instagram from people I know and random people I don't know from this podcast with encouraging words, and I really do appreciate that stuff. But if you wanted to send a message, a video message, a voice message with a topic, or just like going off of an idea I already made, please do, because those are the most fun to get. And maybe actually I have a couple. I haven't turned on my American phone in like 2 weeks. So maybe there are some in there and I'm ignoring you right now, and I apologize for that. I guess I can't ask for something and then not fucking check it. But please send it in. And I think that's a cool alternative or other avenue to explore for the podcast. And I'm copying Theo Vaughn a little bit because he does it, and I think it's so great. But getting into this week, I know I'm a little, maybe a day or two late on this. I apologize. Still getting the weekly one out, working more on the vlog stuff. Now got the van build going. Ooh, boy. Although I have to say, it's so weird to not have practice right now because since December, well, since January, really, pretty much we've had practice 3 days a week, every week, minus 2 weeks. So, what is it? September, that's 9 months, times 4, 36. So 34 out of the last, or 33 out of the last 36 weeks, we've had practice 3 times a week. So that whole last week just felt like the longest Sunday in the fucking world. Because it was like, okay, we're going to go to practice on Monday, right? And it just never came. But it's good to get a break. It looks pretty likely I'll be back here in Kuopio for next season. We've talked about it, but haven't crossed the T's and dotted the I's. The break is nice, but even Pekka and I were talking the other day and thinking up some new stuff for next year and just getting that thing going. So we have a little file online where we share ideas, or basically he'll tell me stuff, then I share my ideas off what he's told me. And by the time next season rolls around, that's going to have 1,000 plays in there with possibly some of the new additions we'll make, both personnel and just in terms of thought processes. So that'll be dope. But man, this last week, or like I said, I guess I'm all over the place. It's been a busy week, and I guess also, pretty busy for me not having football to do. As I said, I got the van build going hot right now, and by going hot, I'm on day number 2. Yesterday, laid down the carpet. Today, I'm going to lay down the hardwood once I lay down this podcast. And a thing that came up on my mind while I was doing the carpet, or kind of, I don't know, not carpet, but it's like a thin layer, kind of insulation to go under the hardwood so it sits nice and has a teeny bit of cushion to it. I was doing it the most ghetto way possible. Probably not the way you're supposed to do it. I had the big roll of carpet, and I'm literally cutting it with scissors from the kitchen. I'm not measuring anything. I get it to a certain point. I was on the, they have the saying, you measure twice and cut once. Well, I have a saying myself, is if you measure never, you cut twice. And so what I mean by that is when you're not really measuring, you always, the first time, cut way bigger than you think it needs to be. And so then you can cut 2 or maybe 3 times after that. And so I'm in the back of the van cutting this carpet, and for the most part, except for one place, it's fucking nice. The very end is a little bit uneven, the very back. But I also kind of told myself, well, no one's going to see this, so it doesn't really fucking matter. But I realized that while I was doing it, is right now in society, the van life, the van conversion stuff, and I'm guilty of it, is very romanticized. And there's some dudes who can do some crazy shit, like carpenter skills. That's really impressive. I'm not one of them. I know a little bit, and I'm going to find out how much I really know about building some things. But I think for a lot of people, then it holds them back from doing something. In this example, it's going to be building a van. You can apply it to whatever you want to do in your life. That, I just don't know enough, or I don't have the right tool, or I don't have the right, because as I started to cut, I was like, I need an X-Acto knife to that way it'll be perfect and I can do it. And I was like, yeah, but then I need to go to the store and then it's going to just be under this. Do I really need it? No. It's almost just a thing we tell ourselves to put it off. Well, I can get that later. I'll get that tomorrow. I'll get that next week. I'll get that someday. Someday never comes, motherfucker. It's always someday. And so just with anything I've done in the last 5 years, or I think mostly with the vlog and the podcast and now the van, is that the first step is the most crucial. And getting the ball rolling. What is it? E equals MC squared? No, that's not the one. Energy is mass times inertia, right? You gotta get some inertia going. Inertia is movement for all those people out there. Gotta get some inertia going to create the energy. It's not the other way around. And so just by getting the carpet in and just starting on it, I figured it out midway through. And like I said, it's not perfect, but I'm not perfect myself. I'm not the carpenter superhero guy that I see on all these YouTube videos that I'm fucking watching. But that's okay. And it's going to get done. And that's the whole part of it, is I've realized that I'm a lot of the time, it needs to be just right. Whether it be a football team that I'm going to, or when I was offensive coordinator, we have to have this and that and this, and we have to run it just perfect, and we have to do this. Relationships, friendships. There's one little thing that pisses somebody off, and well, fuck them. It's like, no, dude, there's one thing that's going to be wrong. One thing. And that's okay. It's not perfect. So that's where I'm at with the van right now. Hardwood should be done today, probably by tomorrow, I would say. And then I need to build the bed frame. And I got lucky. And again, this goes with just getting the ball rolling, getting the energy going. Is I got lucky. I'm staying, I have a place in the city in Kuopio I can stay from the team, but I've been staying at my girl's house the last week or so. And she likes to get stuff. Let's just put it that way. So if there's old furniture at work, if there's old furniture from somebody else, if there's old clothes, she'll take it. And I've, in the last few years, really tried to not take anything extra because I live out of a suitcase for the most part. And so it's a definite balance between the two. But she at work got this kind of old wooden, I think it was a computer table or just kind of a little dresser. And I was messing around. I got my stove delivered last week also. And I was like, shit, I'm thinking in my head I'm going to need to build this kitchen counter kind of thing. And I'd been looking on IKEA for maybe I could just buy one, because for what I need, it's pretty simple. I don't need anything crazy. And so then we're coming in the house last night, and this counter dresser thing is on the porch. And I was like, where are you going to put that? Because there's no space in the house right now for it to go. Unless she's going to glue it to the ceiling. And she goes, there's no place for it. I said, And the top drawer seemed just thick enough that the stove could fit in there. And so I pull out the drawer, try and put the stove in it. It won't fit. I'm like, fuck. And then I take the drawer out. The stove fits in there like it was fucking made for it. And then the front drawer of it isn't an actual drawer that swings open with a handle. It's one of those kind of garage door style doors where you push it up and then it rolls into the back. I hope you get what I mean. Which is literally perfect for a van because a door can't swing open and close and you don't have to worry about getting a latch while you're driving. And on top of it, that little garage door has a key and a lock. And so I'd have somewhere in the van to put some extra valuable stuff, computer, camera, those kind of things. So I was like, damn, because I got a jigsaw from a teammate, I can cut the top of this thing off, put a hinge on it, so that way it's a countertop, and then under it is the stove that'll flip up. And I was like, oh my God, this is going to save me so much time. Now I don't have to build this thing. It's just ready, and it's good to go exactly how it is. And it's a better idea than what I had been thinking in my head. And maybe I would have had that idea had I not started on the carpet in the ghetto way possible. But I don't know. One thing leads to another. So just fucking get started with whatever you're doing right now. Although I'm not trying to tell you what to do. Do whatever the fuck you want. But if there is something that you want to do or start that you haven't been doing, and I'm trying not to give advice because nobody asked, but I guess in a way by you tuning in to me, you're kind of asking what I think. I think it's important just to start. Just get that first fucking step out of the house. Get the first hammer and nail into whatever it is, and then go from there. Yeah, and then last week I did something that I have never done, and to be honest, I never thought I would ever do. I've had some pretty crazy thoughts in my mind, which most of all of them at some point or another come true. Which here, let me go off on a tangent first before I talk about what I did last week, is on the idea of accomplishing what I believe I'm going to accomplish throughout my life. Division 1, playing in Europe. Now, this last 2 weeks has been really crazy, from winning the championship here in Finland and then also buying the van. Because ever since I left, even before I got to Vasa, in my mind I was like, yo, I'm going to be the guy, I'm going to be on the team that takes down the Roosters from their championship run. And so when Kuopio won it last year, I almost was bummed out in a way, because damn, they won it. And it knocked the Roosters off, even though it was kind of like a weird season because of the pandemic. It was shortened. And then this off season while I was here, one of the guys on the team who ended up leaving to go play in Germany, this guy named Tino, he said something that just stuck to me. And he said, hey, bro, just so you know, last year's championship doesn't really mean shit to me. And I was like, and I just thought he meant, I'm not like satisfied. I want to just keep winning. This is what I thought he meant. And I go, yeah, I feel you, bro. I feel you. He's like, no. Last year, we didn't beat the Roosters in the championship. We beat the Wolverines. He goes, it's not the same. He's like, we got to beat the fucking Roosters. The Roosters weren't at full strength. And for people who don't know, the Roosters have won. Well, the Steelers now have won the last 2 championships, and the Roosters, I think, won 7 before that. I could be 6, 7, 8. They've won it a lot. Let's just put it that way. And so in my mind, going back, I've always thought, this is back to 2019, or 2019. I was like, yo, I'm gonna beat the Roosters. And then once Vasa didn't work out, I was like, okay, I'm going to get back to Finland. I'm going to get on one of these other teams, be QBOC, and I'm going to do it. And it didn't go exactly 100% how I had it in mind in 2019, but it happened, where here I am back in Finland and beating the Roosters in the championship. And so from the football idea kind of thing, that had been a big goal of mine for the last 2-3 years, where like that's what I'm working towards in my mind constantly. And then same kind of idea with the van is over the last 3 years, 2 years, I've thought, okay, I'm going to buy a van, and that way I always have a home in Europe. I can then travel to Asia. At least that was my thoughts before pandemic. And then, or I can go back to the States. But then when I come back, it doesn't really matter when or where I go. I have this van to live in. But I never really had that much money. And so then just by the swing of the world and how it all went with crypto, with being here in Finland for 8 months, being able to save some each month, then finding a van that's literally exactly what I wanted for $2,200, which is like, I was in my mind thinking I'm going to have to spend like $6-7 grand. So a third of what it actually I thought it was going to cost, although taxes on that motherfucker are about the same price as the actual car. Jesus Christ. I might be collecting unemployment here in Finland because, boy, I got to get my tax money back, baby. But, no, the thing is I've realized this last week, like, okay, from football and then life, the two things I've been really plotting in my head and believing for sure was going to happen, but they hadn't happened yet, happened. And so now what's next? Because as I said, pretty much everything I really get up in my dome of what I'm going to do ends up coming true and happening at some point. And that's why I'm such a big proponent on first figuring out what your beliefs are. You know, it's kind of a like self-identity kind of thing, and being honest with yourself. And then once you have your ideas or your beliefs figured out, analyzing them and seeing how they're going to shape you for the future, and if there's something you can change, how you're going to change it. And then, you know, I think a lot of people get caught up in this thing where there's not really a lot of belief about what they can do. And so they just get into this same little rut of doing shit. And I understand it. But I'm just saying there's another way. And actually that transitions kind of in a way. I think I'm done on that point. Is like, yeah, just I guess to conclude on that, I'm still figuring out what the next thing is, both football and life. You know, I think it's continuing to grow the podcast, the brand, get the vlog, travel stuff going from the life side of things, getting the van built nice. And we've been rewatching Sons of Anarchy at night. And so now my idea is kind of like, ooh, it'd be kind of dope to have a Harley for the summer. My mom will not be happy to hear that one. Or because the van I have is like pretty big, it'd be kind of dope to have a little small, like a Westphalia or like a Beetle, you know, and just like slowly shrink down the Volkswagen collection. Because I got to admit, I feel like a Volkswagen guy. And then on the football side of things, I guess this is a couple transitions. It's going to be a good episode, I got a feeling. I got a lot of shit written down, and it was ironic because last week after I finished, I was like, I don't know, I don't have much to say. So I didn't force it. Now I got too much shit to say. But from the football side of things, earlier this week on Monday and Tuesday, I went with the trophy to all our different sponsors, all our main sponsors for the team. And, you know, they take a picture with it and kind of get to talk to me, which they didn't do it the year before, but it's a really cool idea just from the sense of, you know, sponsors give X amount of money pretty much out of their pocket. And then they get this like connection, and we get to give thanks and appreciate them. And then everyone appreciates appreciation. And then for me to go, I think it was kind of cool and important because, well, I'm a pretty good nice to meet you, tell a couple stories, bullshitter kind of guy, as you may notice. But then to just get to meet someone from the team and someone then from the team that is in direct effect of their contributions. And it was cool. We went to RPS Brewery. It was fun to see those guys again. Went to Nissan dealership. Went to a bunch of different places. And it was just funny, though, to watch, because the trophy's fucking big. And in Finnish, they call the trophy the boy, the poika. And so, like, every time we'd walk in somewhere, people would be like, oh, the boy is here. They translate it into English. Oh, the boy's here. Look at the boy. That's probably not politically correct. It could, for all you gender fluid neo-Nazis, could be the girl too, okay? But no, it was just funny to watch people look at the trophy, and everyone kind of stands around, hands on the hip, wow. And it has a plaque from every winner for all the years, and starting in 1980, so 41 years now. And as I just said, the Roosters have won it a lot. I'd say 50% of the plaques on the thing are Roosters. And at certain points, they got 5 in a row, 6 in a row. In the early 2000s, the Butchers won it like 6 years in a row. So for a little while, it's like all Roosters, Butchers, Roosters, for like a 12-year stretch or 15-year stretch. And then the last 2 are Steelers. And so I'm starting to think more and more like, I don't know if I'll be here for 5 years. I know I'll be here for next year. But to continue getting the Steelers plaque on there and getting, rather than just having 2 in a row, getting 3 in a row or 4 in a row, 5 in a row, it gave me this like new goal to work towards. And the scary thing or tricky thing with that goal is, or the beautiful thing about it maybe, is it can't be accomplished in 4 days. To get 3 plaques on that motherfucking trophy, it's going to take 3 years. And it's going to take 1 day at a time for 3 years, which I'm cool with. But that's kind of been what I was thinking with that stuff. And I don't know. Maybe my mind will change. I'm happy with how things are happening right now. I just started reading this book, which was a recommendation from a homie, called How I Found Freedom in an Unfree World by Harry Brown, I believe. It's an old book. It's like, I think, written in the 1970s. And it's, again, I don't want to tell you what to do, because we're all different people. We're all different individuals. But if you're ever feeling stuck or just feeling unfree, I'm only on chapter 3 right now. But it's something that through the first 3 chapters, I'm like, damn. And I'm really glad I'm reading it, because it's been not too much new knowledge for myself, as certain passages and things almost feel like I wrote them. Maybe that's fucking narcissistic. I don't know. But it's just ideas that I've had up in my mind. I've just never seen written down on paper like that. It's just stuff I've believed to my core, and I think it's why I'm at where I'm at. But I know as the book progresses, it's going to get into some other things that I probably haven't thought, and we'll probably learn some stuff. But like the common theme through the first 2 chapters is that we're all unique individuals perceiving the world in a different way. And so all of our experiences are subjective, and all of our ways of thinking are subjective, that have been shaped by our experiences. And to expect 2 people to be the same is illogical. Although he also then at one point says, what's logical to some person then may also be illogical to another person based on their experiences and those kind of things. And so a ton of frustration will come to people because they expect someone to think the way they do, or want the things they want, or be the way society tells them they should be, etc. And then that's where unhappiness comes in, because you're living in this weird difference between what you want and what you think you're supposed to be. And a quote that gets said in it is that happiness is just a result from what's happening to you. It's just an emotion, in the same way that unhappiness then is just a result of things that are happening to you. So like changing what's happening to you, if you're unhappy and then just doing the same shit and allowing the same shit to happen, that emotion's never going to change. And then my favorite quote of it was, "Truth is information that leads to predictable results." And I felt that was a unique way of saying it, because the way I interpret that then is truth itself is subjective. And again, we read what we want to read, we hear what we want to hear when people talk, we see what we want to see when things get put in front of us. And we always are biased to make it somehow somewhat fit our narrative and our beliefs. And so I'm for sure guilty of this. But as I've said, whatever you truly believe to be true in your heart is true for you. And this thing that truth is just information that leads to predictable results. The way you interpret some information can lead you then to different results that you can predict. What's an example I can think off the top of my head? For someone in grew up in Seattle, gray skies don't necessarily mean that it's going to rain. That's just how it is. Just gray skies are gray skies. And so for me, when I see a gray sky, it doesn't mean it's raining or it's gonna rain. That's just how it fucking is in Seattle. But then for someone who grew up and lived in Lisbon, anytime they see gray skies, it's gonna fucking rain, because there's not a lot of gray skies that come up. And so who's right? Both or neither, because in both cases it's been the experiences of their lives that then lead to their truth. And by truth, the definition of it in this is information that leads to predictable results. So for the Portuguese person, when gray skies come, it means it's going to rain. For the Seattle person, when gray skies come, it just means it's fucking gray skies. It's just a Tuesday. So, yeah, I got a few books now, especially I'm going to be on the road. I want to get back into reading. For a while, when I was in Spain and Czech Republic, I didn't have a cell phone plan, so I only had service on Wi-Fi. So when I'd ride the bus or the metro, I would just read a book for at least 20 minutes a day. And it just felt good, and a good way to disconnect and connect with something better than scrolling on TikTok, which I probably do too much of. So at some point over the next few weeks, I'll probably mention some books I'm reading and talk about them here and there. And so I hope that feels all right. What do we got? Oh, yeah. Finnish observation I noticed while driving around with one of the sponsors on the trophy tour. was this guy is a very successful businessman. And so throughout our trips and driving from place to place, showing off the boy, he's always on the phone talking. And sometimes it's, personal, sometimes it's business, blah, blah, blah. But it didn't matter either way. When someone was ready to get off the phone, they'd just start inserting random English words. Well, not random, but just it'd kind of be like weird silence or kind of, and just, oh, yes, yeah, all right, yes. And then that was like the cue to, okay, conversation's over. Yes, all right. What was the other one? Okay. And then the other thing I noticed, then getting off the phone, and this is common for a lot of other languages I've noticed, Portuguese especially, but you can't just say bye once. And especially Finnish, though. You can't just say bye once. Okay, noni, talk to you later. Moi, yeah, moi, all right, moi. It's like, moi. All right, goodbye, bye. Okay, see ya. I guess in a way it's similar in English, getting off the phone. I mean, getting off the phone with your mom, no matter what ethnicity, what language she's speaking, can be a 30-minute debacle. All right, Mom, I got to go. I'll talk to you later. Okay, have a good day. I love you. Oh, did you hear that the neighbor down the street, the dog, had puppies? Oh, yeah? Yeah, there's 3 boys and 4 girls, and one's brown. And okay, oh, that's nice, Mom. All right, well, hey Mom, I gotta go. Hey, did you watch The Voice? Did you happen to see? Mom, I don't even have TV out here. Oh, well, it was so crazy because, and it can just go on forever. Well, what are you doing later today? Mom, I'm not talking on the phone. That's why I gotta go. And that happens everywhere. That's the thing, man. We're all so much more fucking similar than we are different. So much more similar. Yet the media, not everybody, but people like to focus on the differences. And don't get me wrong, I like to be different. I like feeling unique. I've been buying women's clothes at H&M lately. I went in there yesterday by accident. And they had a really sick jacket. I might be a part of the basic bitch finish outfit video by the end of my time here. It was the neutral, this natural color, kind of furry, kind of like sheepskin, like fake sheepskin, and it's like this oversized hoodie, and it kind of has the same pocket design as a North Face. Oh, it's fucking sick. And it's an XL, and it's big on me, and so I'm just thinking to myself, how oversized would it be on a girl that's actually XL? And maybe I'm about the same size as an XL girl. I don't know. But my other jeans that I bought from H&M 8 months ago are girl mom jeans. And besides the pockets being small, oh, they fit good and they make my butt look real good. So that's some embarrassing stuff to explain right now. What else we got here? Oh, I saw a hickey on a teenager for the first time in I can't remember how long. I guess I'm not around teenagers too often. But I saw a hickey on someone, and it just brought back some memories. I don't know if I ever got hickeys or gave them. I never really fully understood the point of that. Maybe I did at some point. But, oh, I can remember in 6th grade, I was always dating the older women. And so I dated this 7th grader, Danielle. And she was the more experienced 7th graders. I'm not sure exactly what that means, if she'd touched a dick or sucked one, or I'm not exactly sure what experienced in 7th grade was. But I was not experienced. And I can just remember being so terrified to make out with her. And we went to the Ring at the movie theater. And, you know, that was the place you went when you were in middle school. You go to the movies, you make out in the movies, and then afterwards you go to Red Robin and get French fries. Bottomless French fries. And so you could be there all night. But I can just remember, like, dreading going to because I knew she wanted to. We hadn't kissed yet. We'd probably been dating for a week, which is almost a year. You know, the fact that we hadn't kissed yet was, or 2, I don't know how long. I was a good hand holder. I could do a little bit of cuddling. But boy, I was scared to kiss. And I don't like fully remember it, but I just know, like, you know, kind of trying to use some tongue, but not really. Just mouths are just fucking wet by the end of it. I'm glad to say my skills, I think, have improved since then. I hope. What else do we got here? Okay. I noticed something this weekend while I was out at the bars. Is here in Kuopio, it's kind of a small town, and so there's one main strip with 5 or 6 different bars, and then within that area, maybe 500 meters or a quarter of a mile for my American friends, in each direction there's 1 or 2 other bars. And I just was sitting there one night and I was thinking, it's funny to see the different crowds that go to the different bars. Oh, I got this idea because I went to a bar that I normally don't go. I've gone in the past. I've actually had a really fun night. It was during like pandemic time in the winter when things had to close at midnight, and I ended up making friends with the bartender and staying with him and the other bartenders, just drinking and smoking cigarettes at the bar. But I hadn't been there probably since then. And so we went out there one night and just kind of seeing the different crowds. And sorry, this is only going to apply to people who know Kuopio bars. But I got quite a few Kuopio listeners, I think. And please tell me if you agree with this one. And I'm going to kind of make fun of a few of these, but I still go to a few of them. So I'm making fun of myself. But the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, the like 8, 9, 10 different bars around here. I'll give the example of what that patron looks like. And so first is Nosu. And Nosu, I do like to go there, especially on the weekdays. But Nosu is the college bar, and then the people who still kind of wish and are pretending to be in college. Then right next door to that is Gloria. And Gloria is just old people that still want to be close to Nosu, that really wish they could be in Nosu, but they know they can't pretend that anymore, so then they just go next door to Gloria. Right after that is Jolene, which is like the karaoke kind of famous bar, or like the main spot to go to sing karaoke, also known as the place that souls go to die. I've literally taken like 4 steps into Jolene 3 different times. And you just like get in there And you think, oh, fuck, this is not where I should be right now. And I've turned around all 3 times. Actually, I've gotten 1 beer there 1 time. That's a lie. Then next to that is Ale Pubi, which is like the sports bar. And when I first moved here and I was looking at Google Map recommendations, the first review from it said, where the professionals go, because they open up at 9 a.m. And so that is where the true alcoholics go that may also like sports, because they got a couple good sports TVs on. They got pool and darts upstairs. But that's where the true alcoholics go. Or if you're just trying to watch a game and have a big group, because they have a good setup for open seating. But there's this one old British or Scottish or Welsh or something dude who literally every time I go there is there at the bar. And for a while during the winter, I was in the same category too. But this dude, I have never been there and not seen him. He is a professional, as they say. Right around the corner, you got this place called Kalakuku or something. Kalakuku. It's like where people under 20 go. So I don't know too much more than that. I'm sure there's people puking in the bathrooms. I'm sure there's a lot of shitty shots being ordered, but I've never been in there, so I can't really speak on it. Then you got Apteekari, which Apteekari is pretty cool. It's 3 layers. It's got a bar that's like kind of hip and a little pretentious, a little fancy, and then it has a nightclub with normally some of the worst music ever. And then it's got a rooftop, which makes it one of the more unique, or if not the most unique place in Kuopio, because the rooftop is pretty sick, and it's tough to compete with that. But the people that go to Apteekari, for the most part, it's kind of college. It's like the people who just left Kalakuku, so they're over 20, and they're like, okay, yeah, we're too old for that place. They go there. Or people that are like trying to be cool and hip, because there's some good, like, they got good feng shui in there. They got good decor. And like I said, I've gone to Apteekari a lot, so you can interpret that how you will. I guess I forgot one thing. Apteekari is the place that people go to club that you don't want to club with. The dance floor at Apteekari is always lame as fuck. Then, on the way down the hill, oh shoot, I forgot one spot across the street from Nosu is Hop House, which when I first moved here, that's where I wanted to go. That's where I went the first time. It's new, Hop House, kind of craft beer spot. It's got the like light bulbs hanging down from the ceiling. It seems cool. But you walk in there, and the people who work there are super friendly. But it just has no heart. It's so commercial, it feels. And so the only people that I know that go there are either expats or people that think really, really, really high of themselves. So the group that's in there, I've never had a fun time in Hop House. I've been like 3 times with either an expat or people that think very, very highly of themselves. And maybe that's me too. Then as you start going down the hill towards the water, there's Malia. And Malia has a lot of craft beer. I would say Malia is the place that people go who know how to drink and like to drink good things. The bartenders make good drinks. They have a lot of good beer on tap. There's no music being played. It's the true pub. Old. The decor in there is not very good, but that's not why you're there. You're there to drink. But also, you're a functional alcoholic at Malia, probably. Ale Pubi, you're probably a little bit out of hand. Malia is where the more sophisticated alcoholics go. So then you get down into the harbor and you get to Albatrosi. And Albatrosi is the weirdest conglomerate of things I've ever seen. You walk in and you feel like you're in an old Western bar, but it has the open dance floor and tables next to it. Big dance floor with kind of a stage and DJ playing techno, house. Sometimes they get some rap music. As I've said, the overall music DJ scene in Kuopio hasn't been the best. And then you walk further down to the end, and there's a karaoke stage that's completely separate from the dance floor. But just the overall vibe there is it's cool. And then they have a huge outdoor seating area. But it's just a weird combination of things. But the people that go to Albatrosi are the people that you want to go dancing and clubbing with. Like, that's where if I'm going to go dance, you always have a good time. Because people in there are good. And it's not like, it's not the young hip crowd. It's not old. It's just like people that are really just trying to get down. And so I'm excited because I brought some of those things up. Because then there's a new bar opening up this weekend called Lasku, which will be below Nosu. And I've learned Nosu is like uphill. Lasku means downhill. That's kind of a cute play on words. And it's supposed to be kind of a nightclubby thing, like 90s theme with some neon. Gonna play, I fucking hope, some good music, whether it be rap and hip hop or just the classics. It's so, I don't know what some of the techno that gets played both at Aptekkari and Albatrosi. I mean, I guess Finnish dudes don't have any rhythm, so it doesn't really matter. You just put noise on. But fuck, dude. It's so hard. Like, you can't even catch the beat. So I'm going to go check out Lasku this weekend. And hopefully it lives up to the hype. Because I have good feelings for it. I have a good feeling for it. They're kind of like, they got their emblem. They're kind of like playing off the like old MTV logo back when MTV was fucking good and actually played music videos. So I got some good hopes for it. So we'll see. I'll report back next week. Oh, I never got into one thing that I was going to talk about. I got off on that tangent and then I never got back to it. So now I'm going to get back to it. I had prefaced the first tangent with saying, you know, things that come up in my mind, I end up doing. And I've had some crazy ideas throughout my life, i.e. playing football in Europe for 7 years and buying an old Volkswagen van and etc. But I did something last week that I never dreamed, I never thought of, I never believed I was going to do in my life, ever. And it was pretty cool. And that thing was, I got to drop the puck at the local Kuopio professional hockey game. You know, like the first pitch in baseball or the coin flip in football. I was the guest of honor for winning the championship. Me and my coach went out there, and I got to fucking drop that puck. And like I said, I've gone to one hockey game in my life before I moved to Finland. Went to a New York Rangers game in New York at Madison Square Garden. I think hockey is a great sport. I don't really understand it, although I understand it now after sitting next to someone who was explaining it to me during the game. I understand what icing means now. Before, I thought icing was when someone just skated at someone and then stopped super hard so that the ice went in their face. I swear to God, for 31 years of my life, I've thought that's icing. I get offsides, even though offsides in hockey is different than offsides in soccer. But yeah, icing, that was a new one for me. And so anyway, I got to drop this fucking puck. And I'll be honest, I was more nervous to do that. I think maybe at this game, the final total was like 2,200 people. I was more nervous to do that than almost any game I've ever played in. And the whole way it started for me being able to do it was the Monday after we won the championship. We're all drinking with the team. And one of our sponsors for the Steelers also, I don't know if he owns the whole hockey team or is also a partial owner of the hockey team. And he was there. We're all drinking. And I was explaining that at the coin toss for all our games this year where we've had a guest do the coin flip, the person does not know how to flip a coin. Literally 3 for 3, 4 for 4. Every person has held it like an apple in their hand and then just tossed it straight up. And then it fucking flying saucers. It doesn't even flip. And then just like sticks in the mud, sticks in the grass. And so I was saying to them, like, you would think if you're gonna go flip a coin in front of some people at I know it's not the biggest deal in the world, but somewhat of a big deal, you would learn how to flip a fucking coin. I guess coin flipping just isn't a thing in Finland because no one knows how to do it. Maybe because of American football, like the flipping of a coin has always been a thing that like I can remember me and my dad doing when I was young. And there's multiple ways to flip a coin. You know, you do there's multiple ways. You can do the way where you hold it flat in your hand and then you throw it up and then you hit it with your thumb as it goes up, which makes it flip. That's like an expert kind of flip. And so the first like 2 people that did it, I thought, oh man, these people really know what they're doing. They're going for the expert underhand flip. No, those fuckers didn't have a clue. And so I was explaining this to the group of guys that we're drinking with on the team. And next thing I know, Pekka, my coach, looks over at me and he goes, you doing anything Saturday? I go, no, I don't think so. He goes, all right, you're going to drop the puck at the game. And I thought he was like joking. And then Mika looks, he goes, yeah. He goes, I own the team. I'll make it happen. And so next thing I know, Saturday rolls around and like 10 minutes before we're leaving to go to the game, I was like, fuck. I was talking all that shit about coin flipping. I don't know how to drop a puck. So I shit you not, I literally YouTube how to drop a puck. And here, I'll play the video of it right now.
Alright, so what you do, you may think like you just hold it and drop it like that, but that's not like at all how you do it. You hold it with your middle finger like this on the side, your thumb this way, and like your middle and your first finger wrapped around like in a circle. And when you drop it, you spin it. So you put a little spin on it, and you have to hold it outside, like out, so you get down and then drop it. And the energy should just go straight down, and like it should go out sideways when it hits, so it won't bounce. So
yeah, I got that video and watched it and studied it and did a couple dry spins. And, you know, it's kind of like you hold it like a circle change up. For my baseball fans, you hold the puck like a circle change, kind of. And then as you go to throw it down, you spin it. Well, I guess they just explained that in the video. And so I never got to really practice it, just on air. And so then I walk out there, and if you see me, I'm just walking as fast as I fucking can down this red carpet. I'm like, okay, shit. And I look at the dude on our team, Kalpa, And I say, hey, man, I've never done this before. I had to look it up on YouTube. I hope I don't fuck this up. I think he understood me. He gave me a laugh. And I fucking spun that shit. Dropped that shit. Drop it like it's hot. It just landed perfectly flat. No bounce, no nothing. And that's the goal. And so as then I'm walking back, Pekka's like, dude, that was a really good drop. Like, you looked like you knew what you were doing. It didn't bounce one time. I was like, fuck yeah. Thanks, YouTube. And then as we're walking up the stands to get to VIP, subtle brag, there was this old couple, and maybe they were just cheering that we won the championship. But in my mind, they were like really out in the aisle, like in my face, like clapping to cheer me on. And in my mind, they were cheering my dropping of the puck. So I appreciate that, old people. But yeah, that was great. I thought to myself, man, I've thought of some weird shit in my life. I never thought I was going to be dropping a puck at a hockey game. And the funniest thing, before I went, I was explaining to my girl I was going to go do it. And she's like, but what, you're going to wear those shoes on the ice? I was like, yeah. And she's like, I said, there's going to be a carpet like out on the ice. And she's like, but are they then just going to play around that? And I was like, what? She's like, yeah, like they're going to have to avoid the carpet? I was like, no, I'm not like doing it for the actual game. It's like the pre-game celebration kind of thing. Like, in her mind, she thought it was like I was going to be the fucking ref for the game. Like, out there, let's go, boys, and drop the puck. And then they're going to start playing. I'm going to have to run off the ice before someone fucks me up. But that was fucking cool, dude. That was really cool. I hope I get to do that again at some point. I don't know. Was there a first thing in soccer that I could do now? Now I want to throw out a first pitch in baseball. I'd be fucking good at that. All right, man, we are rolling. We're over an hour right now. Like I said, I didn't have much to say last week. I got too much to say this week. So I got one more thing about COVID. So if you don't want to hear any more about COVID, you can sign off now. No problem. Appreciate you for listening up to this point. I probably got 5. I don't know. I got some videos to show that's just utter insanity. And some funny things that, I mean, the world is just a reality TV show at this point. Every country is its own channel. And there's some funny shit going on in certain channels and scary shit going on in others. Like right now, Australia is just full-blown insane. I'm going to show a couple videos here of their prime minister talking and explaining things. And then also the riots. I don't know what to call them riots. Maybe CNN would call them peaceful protests that are going on. And there's a couple of those that are fucking... I like seeing. I'm a big fan of like fuck the man, fight the man kind of thing. And Australia, while they're getting fucked, occasionally a video surfaces of them doing some fucking themselves. And I gotta admit, after growing up posting police brutality videos when it wasn't cool, now posting police brutality videos is like a cool thing to do. But when I was doing it, the only comments that I would ever get were like, why the fuck are you care about this? It's not that big a deal. Now it's like, yes, queen. But as someone who's posted police brutality videos and thinks it is a definite problem, I love seeing videos where not cops get killed or anything or harmed like really bad, but when they get a little taste of their own medicine. So let's show a couple of these clips right here. first is the dictator, I mean Prime Minister. And just so you know, I get all of my news from a very reliable source, all of my videos from a completely credible source, and that's TikTok. So take that for what it is. Although everything I'm going to say right here, I did learn on TikTok or like Twitter. Google anything. It's all true. I did Google it after. Although actually I've started to use DuckDuckGo because Google, you know what I'm saying. But here's the dictator.
To protect the health system, we've got everybody locked down. We're going to move to a situation where to protect the health system, we're going to lock out people who are not vaccinated and can be. If you're making the choice not to get vaccinated, then you're making the wrong choice. You're making the wrong choice. And for safety's sake, and for the back to that point about how much work our nurses have to do, as this becomes absolutely a pandemic of the unvaccinated and we open everything up, it's not going to be safe for people who are not vaccinated to be roaming around the place spreading the virus. That's what they'll be doing. So there's every reason to get vaccinated. And there are appointments available, and there'll be even more appointments available throughout September, October, November. Let's get to those thresholds as fast as we possibly can. But yes, there's going to be a vaccinated economy, and you get to participate in that if you are vaccinated.
You get to participate in that. Wow, freedom, man. Freedom. That's just what? That's just the whole language used in that, and it's so untrue. Like, I mean, there's nurses and stuff quitting in the U.S. right now in record numbers because of the mandates and stuff like that, and hospitals now are overworked. I mean, the media can flip it and spin it however they want, but then the whole the pandemic of the unvaccinated is insanity because they've changed the rulings that if you are fully vaccinated after 2 weeks, but you've gotten your shot, and then after 2 weeks you're considered vaccinated. If you go in then for anything, it's not COVID, even if it is COVID. And so then that also is a way is those people in the purgatory who've had the shot, but it hasn't been 2 weeks yet. If they go in, they're still considered unvaccinated. So that adds to the numbers because that's normally when the symptoms show up again. That adds to the numbers. And then it also makes it so that there's not any adverse side effects regarding the vaccine. And listen, if you want to get it, get it. And I respect and encourage you to. I don't think it's that dangerous. I don't think it's the end of the world exactly. The vaccine itself is the end of the world. I think like the things that are going to result from it, whether it be vaccine passports, soon you'll have a tattoo on your arm with your vaccine number, or you'll have a little emblem on your shoulder to show that you've been vaccinated, which historically works out just completely fine. So there's no issues with that. And so it's not that I think the actual vaccine itself is like this. I mean, I guess I don't not think that it could be a depopulation thing, but I think it's more the result of it being a bigger deal than the actual thing itself being the bigger deal. But so we heard from the Prime Minister, and then we'll check out this one. Here is when I say it's fun to see the cops get a little taste of their own medicine. This is what I'm talking about. Oh, look at this. This one dude in the black hood, kamikaze, he's the hero of it. He bull rushes one cop, and then in an effort to retreat, he accidentally then spears another, pinballs off that guy back in the right direction, and then clotheslines another cop. Now, I don't have any backstory or real context for this. I just got to admit, this shit kind of turns me on. I feel bad for the people of Australia. I feel bad for the cops, too, because the cops, in their opinion, think they're doing the right thing. They really do. But with that said, I know there's some that don't think it's right, but are in a position where they need the money, and that's their job. And they're probably saying things like, I don't agree, but I'm just doing my job. And those words right there are some of the most dangerous words that can be spoken when it comes from someone in a position of power, whether it be in the medical fields. I'm sure there's a lot of doctor, I don't agree, I'm just doing my job. Police, military, etc. Lawyers. Those words is the start to something bad. And I've been honest, I don't think the next 50 years are going to be great, especially for Australia. The U.S., I think we got hope because people got guns. And so, like, at some breaking point, it won't be good, though. It'll be a fight. But Australia, there's hard to even be a fight because they're pretty powerless. And then my last video from Australia, that if it doesn't give you Hunger Games or like The Purge vibes, I don't know what does.
Attention. This is a police public order warning. You have previously been directed to leave. Leave now or force may be used. No further warnings will be given.
I don't know. That one just kind of like gave me chills when I watched it the first time. And media doesn't report on anything. Well, I guess I shouldn't say that because it's not like I'm watching mainstream media, so I don't fully know. I just, by reading Twitter, hearing other people who do heavily invest and watch media for, I don't understand why, they say they're not reporting it anywhere, despite there being protests literally all over the world over this shit. What's our next? I guess I read right before I got on and started here that I guess Black Lives Matter, the organization or movement, is now protesting vaccine mandates for the racist things. Because as I've said on past episodes, vaccine mandates disproportionately affect people of color and minorities because they're the least vaccinated demographic. Because, historically speaking, the free thing that the government gives you without a ton of test trials on doesn't end up helping you out. And so I'm real curious to see how the media portrays BLM protesting vaccine mandates, because those two things the media loves to support. And I'm not a big fan of Black Lives Matter, the organization. Been a big fan and big supporter of the movement and the saying my whole life. But the organization is real fucking weird, directing at breaking the family apart. There's a lot of shit about like LGBTQRLMNOP in there, which like I'm all for those people doing that kind of stuff too, but or like that group, I'm all for LGBTQ rights. I just don't get how it applies and fits in with Black Lives Matter. Those are separate issues, and so when you put one in the other, it seems like a weird agenda. So I'm curious to see how the media reacts, because both of those things, you know, Black Lives Matter, mostly peaceful protests while there's buildings burning in the back of the news report. But then also the news says that anybody who opposes vaccines and vaccine mandates are also crazy Trump supporters. But now Black Lives Matter is a part of that, which means that they're crazy Trump supporters? I don't know. That's why I'm curious to see how they spin this one. Or most likely, they just don't report on it at all. They'll talk about the new Delta Gamma Tau variant that has just been discovered in the middle of India where nobody lives. The thing with Black Lives Matter being like against the vaccine mandates is that I read this on Twitter. Was someone said like, which again, horrible place, but it produces some decent thoughts. And this applies, I think, in other places in my life. And the person said, oh, I'm torn because I really dislike the Black Lives Matter organization, but I really agree with them in this. And so my moral compass is all fucked up because I don't want to support them, but I agree with them. And it's just like the epitome of where we're at in society right now, where people feel that if they hate someone, or no, they feel that if you disagree with someone, then you have to hate them and that you can't agree with them on anything. And then on the flip side, that if you agree with someone or you like someone, then you have to agree with them on everything. And that's not how it works at all. And so I stupidly probably replied to them like, you don't let past emotions and past feelings dictate how you react in the now. Think in the now, right now. The fact that right now they're supporting something that you want to support and believe in, that's what matters right now. 6 months ago, doesn't matter. As the great philosopher Drake has said, fuck how it was, it is what it is. And that's in this case, I'm telling it to myself in multiple things. Is maybe someone wronged me in the past or whatever. I can't let that affect. I mean, I guess there's a difference between being wronged and then just disagreeing with somebody. But if I disagreed with my dad on politics when I was 18, I'm not going to let that, and we got into some heated fucking battle, heated discussion, called each other names. This didn't happen. This is an example. Although we did disagree on politics quite a bit. I was a big Ron Paul guy when I was 18. But that happens. I'm not then going to let that disagreement and that argument affect us in having a conversation and agreeing on something today. That would be fucking stupid. And so I don't know how I'm going to wrap that one up, but that's just like, live in the now. That's, I guess, how it comes down to. Live in the now. Think in the now. Fuck how it was. It is what it is. Let's see. Damn, hour 20. We got like one more clip here before I cue that up. I guess Rutgers University has banned an online-only student from attending online classes, even though he'll never be on campus because he isn't being vaccinated. That one's pretty crazy. Make that one make sense. The other weird thing is, the FDA now has approved the Pfizer booster shot for people 65 and older or immune compromised, which it's only a matter of time. Then they'll approve it for everybody, and then kids, and then they'll say you need to give it to the pregnant people and give it to people who aren't even pregnant but want to be pregnant for their child that'll be in the future. That'll happen. But did you know that the FDA commissioner from 2017 to 2019 is now on the Pfizer board of directors? Don't believe me? Look it up. His name's Scott Gottlieb. That seems like a conflict of interest, if you ask me. And then on last note, last video, last thing of the day, from good old Project Veritas, also then relating to the FDA, this guy being secretly recorded is in the FDA, and I'll just play the clip. So, in case you're missing that, like for people that don't want to get vaccinated, this guy, and just wait because he says it more times with the most evil smirk on his face I've ever seen, says that we should just start blow darting people. And maybe he's joking, but he's real adamant about this idea.
I remember reading about how with COVID trials they were having an issue recruiting African American people.
Can't blame them.
I can't, but at the same time, like, blow dart. It's where we're going. There needs to be a registry of the people who aren't vaccinated. Although that's sounding very Germany.
The Germany that you're thinking of is it?
Nazi Germany. I mean, think about it like the Jewish Star.
It looks like FDA or something.
Yeah. Again,
so unorganized.
blow dart. It is the perfect answer. And since J&J is an mRNA, you have no issue of it counteracting with anything else. So again, you just shoot everyone. Drones. Drone darts. Easy.
How do we reach the minority populations?
Blow darts is always the answer.
Yes.
I will cheers to that.
Yes. Cheers.
And the people who are like, oh, the vaccine's terrible, it's the Antichrist, are like, yes, our
Whoa. And I don't know what this guy exactly is. Project Veritas, in case you haven't checked that out and you like quote-unquote conspiracies that just happen also to be true. Project Veritas is pretty interesting. And I think that's where we'll end it today. Woo, it's a long one. Now I'm going to go start to do some more of the van build. Oh, I posted 2 vlogs from van life. If you're still listening now, it means you're somewhat invested in what the fuck I'm doing. Please go check those out. They're on YouTube. Pretty cool spots here in Finland. And that'll do it. Alrighty. Appreciate you listening. Thanks for the support. Until next time, peace and much love. Holla.
Tell me, baby. Yeah. What's that story? I've been thinking about you lately. Yeah, come on. Tell me, darling. What else? You're a star girl. What else? How the fuck do you not know the deal? What else? I've been thinking about you lately. And what else? Got me going crazy. What else? Playing for you, baby. Listen up, Got me thinking about you, baby. And it's happening all the time. So I'm playing for you, darling. Listen up.